Hi, e-tailers. I'm super excited to talk to you today about the new feature in eTail Pet SELLIT Plus called Product Setup. Just go to Manage Catalog in your dashboard and then go to Product Setup. And you can use this screen to change or remove things on my items or review my margins. This is going to be a game changer because it's a super easy and great way for you to be able to change all kinds of information related to your products. So just click go. Here you can either search for an item or search on a keyword or by a UPC or system ID, or you could search by brand. I'm going to search by brand. You could also choose to search by category, any category there. So you could further narrow it down, or you could just do categories only, whatever you like. Item type, the only choice right now is single, but we may have more types for that in the future. The store to be modified, you need to select at least one store. Let's say that I only carry 2-ounce design in Brentwood. Well, then if I chose Charlotte, then the items wouldn't come up in my list. So you want to choose the main store that carries the items that you're wanting to update. Go ahead and select that. This screen is displaying all of the products that match the criteria that I selected when I started. It's displaying all the 2-ounce design, and it's also only showing them for the Brentwood store. I can use all of these boxes in the form to update anything I need to here. I could update the desired inventory level. I could update the reorder method. I can update the QOH. Anything that I want to, I can update here. The thing is, though, that this screen is only reflecting the Brentwood store because that's what I selected. So all the changes that I make here are only going to apply to the selected store. First, let's add a vendor to these products. I'm going to select add vendor and then go, and I'm going to select Honeybee Pet Adventures, and I do want to make this my default vendor, so I'm going to say yes and add new vendor. I'll be getting an email update sent to the email that I'm logged in with, but I can also go to Manage Catalog My Products, select my brand, and then I can check to make sure that the vendor has been updated. And here you can see that, yes, the vendor has been updated. However, I don't have any SKUs and I don't have any default costs. So I'm going to need to add that before I go any further. So let's go back to product setup, change or remove things on my items. We're working on 2-ounce design for the Brentwood store. Click select. Now I've already added a vendor, but I didn't put any vendor costs. So let's do change vendor cost. Click go. Now it says you could update the items below one by one, or you could do an import. So let's go ahead and click export and get our product vendor sheet. The nice thing about this is that it's not only a template, but it already has our data in it that we need to update. So that's going to save a lot of time. So the first thing is this sheet needs to be named import. So go ahead and change that. If yours already is named import, then you're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and enter my vendor SKUs. This is a test store, so I'm entering test SKUs. All right, let's go ahead and update the costs. Toys are $7.99, $3.99. Harnesses are $19.99, and the leashes are $8.99. All right, so I've got my vendor SKU, my default cost. I'm not deleting any of those. Let's go ahead and save this. Close it out, and then click import. Select my import file, and the notification will be sent to my email address that I'm logged in with. Let's go ahead and go check the updates in my products. And when I go to the vendor details tab, look here, My vendor SKUs, my default costs are all updated, so I'm good to go there. You should probably spot check a view if you have a long list. I'm going to do the same brand, same store. So now that I have my vendor cost in there, there's some really fun things that I can do with my retail price. So let's change retail price and click go. The default cost applies to all stores just by default, but the retail price could be applied to all stores or it could be different for each store. Here's where you go ahead and choose whether you want it for just one store or for all stores. I'm going to go ahead and set it for all stores. I could set them all to the same price, but obviously they cost me different amounts, so I might not want to do that. If you had a list that were all the same amount, that would be super easy to do. I could increase all my prices by 1%, but I don't have any in there yet, or decrease them by 1% or by a dollar amount, but I don't have them in there right now. But that could be very useful for when I'm updating my prices. So here is a really nice way to set my prices by margin. So let's say I want a 30% margin. I can just type that there and I can choose whether to apply that margin to the vendor cost or the average cost. I'm going to go ahead and apply it to the vendor cost, and I'm doing it to all 3 stores. I'm going to go ahead and click change. I will receive an email notice in my inbox, and let's go see the results of our price changes in the catalog. And look, all my prices have been updated based on my vendor cost to a 30% margin markup. Also, we can see when we click on an individual item and go to the inventory tab that the prices were updated for all the stores, not just one. So that was what we wanted because I selected all stores. Let's go back to the product setup and look at some more things that we can do. Some other bulk actions that I can do would be to change average cost. Average cost is the average of the cost that you pay for items over time. The average cost does affect your cost of goods, so it's important to have an accurate average cost. When you change it here, you're probably doing it because you have some zero average costs or some incorrect average costs. So what happens when you use this screen to update them for your stores, it actually removes all of the inventory that you have and then adds it back in at the new average cost. So this is a really quick way to fix your average cost if you have some incorrect cost of goods. I'm going to set all to my primary vendor cost. And they should have all been updated for all the stores. The way that you can check that is to go to Manage Catalog, My Products, select your item, open it, go to the Inventory tab, and you can see here I don't have any inventory on this. So because I don't have any inventory, I'm not going to see any average cost. It's going to be 0. Let's go back and choose a different product. And go to the Inventory tab. And now we can see we have 1 on hand for each store. So I should have average cost now for these. So let's go ahead and look at the History tab. A manual adjustment was just made just now when we updated our average cost. It removed 1 from inventory from each of our stores, and then it added back in 1 for each of our stores at the current vendor cost. So the cost per unit was $8.99. That's the current vendor cost. And so the average cost now is equal to the current vendor cost. You can verify that in vendor details, where you can see that the default cost is $8.99. So that's how you can check your average cost updates. Okay, let's look at our bulk actions. We've already changed retail price, average cost, default vendor, vendor cost, vendor SKU. We've added a vendor. We have not removed a vendor. Keep in mind, you cannot remove a vendor from this area down here from this screen because the vendor drop-down's grayed out. However, you could remove it from here, and if you click go, You can select your vendor and it will remove this vendor from all of your selected products. I don't want to remove that right now, so let's leave it. I can also change the order multiple. And I could say I want to order all of these in multiples of 12, and I could change that order multiple. Or I can change them all to 1. Let's go ahead and do that. Again, I'll receive an email report. The last thing that we have to go over right now is review my margin. And you can use this screen to filter by brand or search on keywords, by categories, item type, and then you can choose a range of margin to review your products that say fall below a 30% margin if that's your baseline, whatever your baseline is. So that's how that works, and we're going to talk more about reviewing the margins in the next video. So thanks for watching.